Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Hollywood Matt Connolly with the double biceps. It is in the contract a legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. We're talking about Pride Fight Series number 5 held at Harts Mill in Port Adelaide, South Australia, and what an event it was. Curley, Angel, all kudos to you. You are an incredible event organizer. You run this promotion fantastically. These matchups that we saw on this card were so evenly balanced. We saw so many wars going on between the competitors. We saw an amazing heavyweight battle between Mark Stansfield and Isaac Richards. We saw some amazing athletes from Bourne martial arts gym stepping in, getting wins. And it was overall a fantastic experience. The technical side of the show was through the roof, as in the music coming out was tremendous. The sound, the atmosphere of the room, just got it all nailed down. That Harts Mill just becomes like a 100,000 person arena all of a sudden. It feels like you're in a very special place. And everyone that's there is very much into Muay Thai, and the crowd themselves were very into the sport. Such a good event. If you're ever going to check out Muay Thai, this is the show you want to see. Pride Fight Series. This was number 5. The previous 4 events have all been tremendous as well. Number 6, if you are interested in Muay Thai, make sure that you get along to these events, not only to see some tremendous Muay Thai, but to support the people that are putting on these types of shows. And Curley, Angel, tremendous effort from you, and this was a 10 out of 10 show. I think there was nothing that could have been done better. I loved all the music for their ring entrances. The athletes were incredible. The matchups were fantastic. The crowd was into it. It's one of those things when you put on a more traditional side for Muay Thai, where you have the white crew before each fight, where the fighters do their blessing of the ring and their little ceremony. Crowd was respectful. Nobody booed. Some of those white crews went for quite a while, but nobody got frustrated. Everyone was quite respectful and interested in what was going on. The pace of the show, the fights just kept flowing on. We did get an intermission, but it was only a 10-minute one, which was fantastic. Just enough time to give everyone a little bit of a break, go to the toilet, get a drink, get something to eat, come back. We got 3 big fights to finish off on. You've got some fantastic fighters in Prabsuek coming over from Western Australia, a man with over 80 wins in the Muay Thai world. Such a good experience overall. This was tremendous. I was very, very fortunate, and I was very lucky to be at this event. Not only that, but I was lucky enough to sit very close to the action. And yeah, I just got to say that it was one of the best nights of combat sports that I've ever seen. So well done to everyone involved. I'll go through each matchup and talk about what I thought happened in terms of technicalities and the way people fought and their fighting style and the decisions and everything that happened throughout each person's fight. I'm going to timestamp that so people can skip through and find their own fight if they're one of the fighters on the card, or maybe it's a friend or a family member and you just want to see my thoughts on their performance. But overall, I don't think there was a single moment that happened in that night that was negative. I can only give props and praise to everyone that was involved in this event. Well, the first fight of the night was in fact Bourne fighting out of Torahod and Sam Aidan fighting out of Bourne martial arts gym, of course owned by Darren and Curley Angel, running everything there. Also the promoters of the event, the Pride Fight Series, and what a tremendous way to kick off your fight card. You couldn't have asked for a better way to start your show. Both of these guys went hell for leather at each other the entire 3 rounds of this. There was, and I started to count the amount of time there was where a strike wasn't thrown, and the longest I got to was 2 seconds. These guys, I would love to see the count, the stat count on this. The guy, if there was somebody out there trying to tally up how many strikes were thrown in this, I think they just would have thrown their paperwork out the window after the first minute. These guys threw so many strikes at each other. It was absolutely unbelievable. As I said, best possible way you could have to start off a card. Incredible effort from both guys. They kept this pace up all the way through. It was 3 rounds. It was probably 2.5 rounds in where they actually started to slow down. Unbelievable. Both guys incredibly fit, incredibly strong, a lot of heart. They were very evenly matched, which goes as a credit to Curley Gangel as the promoter there to match up these guys and have. They were very similar in their skill set. We saw Luke throwing a lot more sort of straight punches, which he was very effective with. He was the taller fighter in the fight as well. So Sam moving forwards, trying to get in range, he sort of would eat 1 or 2 of those jabs, those straight punches that Luke was throwing. He sort of threw a bit more of a hook style punch on his way in. As soon as he was in range, they both sort of ended up in the clinch. They were very evenly matched in the clinch. We saw a lot of knees. They were sort of very even in terms of one would throw a knee, the other would throw one back. And that sort of would be the story of their clinch work every time they got in. That were sort of both landing as much on each other as they were throwing. They were receiving as much as they were throwing, basically. And I think that the point of difference was as Sam was moving forwards, he would sort of take 1 or 2 shots before he could get in range to start landing his back and forth. That's the reason I think that Luke got the nod in this. Being the taller fighter as well, Sam's probably not used to fighting somebody that's that tall in the 78 kilo division. But a tremendous way to start off the night. I mean, credit to both guys. They both put, as I said, if you're going to watch a fight and you said, hey, what's Muay Thai like? And you went along to the show, or maybe you bought the pay-per-view event, and this was your first experience, you're like, I think I like this. This is good. I'm glad I've paid the money to come and see this, because it was absolutely incredible. Credit to both guys. There was no loser in that fight. We did get the result, obviously, which was unanimous decision for Luke Bourne, but neither guy walks away a loser, in my opinion, in that. Absolutely incredible effort from both men. Alright, and that brings us into our second fight of the night, and again, what an amazing fight. This card is delivering big time. Sitting in person watching this, it was like the first fight between Sam and Luke was an absolute blockbuster. Barn burner non-stop action. And then Lisa and Yanni must have been backstage going, we'll see if we can top that. So we had Yanni Jiang from Strike Studio in Victoria taking on Lisa Duffy, also from Bour's Martial Arts Gym. They've come out and put on a spectacular performance as well. We saw a lot of back and forth. I was feeling that Lisa had control of the first round from the distance that she was able to maintain. She was landing a lot of kicks to the body. Yanni appeared to be one of the sort of fighters that will constantly just hound you, and like a pressure fighter, always pushing forwards, coming at you, never getting tired, big smile on her face the whole time. That first round, I feel like it took her a little bit of time just to find her range, her distance, and her timing. And I think that Lisa was able to sort of capitalize on that and counter-punch and counter-kick Yanni's non-stop aggression slightly better. I did give the first round to Lisa. Second round, it was like a different Yanni had come out. The aggression level was through the roof. You could see that on her face, she wanted to win this fight by knockout and inflict a lot of pain, a lot of punishment on Lisa Duffy. And Yanni was just walking through everything and just coming at Lisa with fury. Lisa did a tremendous job in terms of her defensive work. She held the knee shield up. She was able to use her footwork and able to fend off the attack as much as she could. From Yanni, unfortunately, Yanni was just relentless in her attack. Moving forwards, every time Lisa would sort of get some space, Yanni would follow. She may eat a body kick on the way in, but she was landing very heavy overhand right punches several times throughout the second round, and that trend continued into the third. Lisa Duffy doing a tremendous job in terms of what she could control. But when you're going against a fighter that is non-stop pressuring you and coming at you, landing heavy punches, and you're always on your back foot trying to get away, trying to create distance, I think Lisa is a fighter that fights better from distance, and maybe her style works much more effectively in sort of a kicking range. But Yanni was just relentless and was able to walk away with a split decision victory. So it was close enough that one of the judges did give the fight to Lisa, but I think the right call was made with Yanni's pressure in the second and the third. She was pressuring in the first, but I think that Lisa's striking was more effective in that first round. The second and the third, Yanni continued with her relentless pressure, but she was a bit more accurate with her striking. So I think the correct call was made there, but a fantastic showing from both ladies. And well, second fight in, we've seen two barn burners, and you'd have to think, well, fight of the night, it's going to be bloody tough, because we've got two fights so far, and either of them could have been fight of the night right there. So well done to both ladies. Okay, leading into our third fight of the night, we had Max Milne coming over from Western Australia in Riddler's Gym. We also had him taking on Pana T from Team Pinky. Great fight. This one ended up being the winner of fight of the night. Both guys deservedly. So a very interesting match. It was Max that came away with the victory here, and it felt very much to me like it was a game of distance control. I don't know if they were actually... I don't think Max was taller than Pana. I think that he may have actually been slightly shorter, but they were very even in terms of their height and their build. But Max felt like he was like an expert at controlling the distance. He was using a very long teep kick, and he was able to sort of lean his body back and really extend his foot out. He landed that over and over, and he was mixing it up between going to the body and going to the face. And Pana was moving in. He was throwing more of the roundhouse style kicks, which you've got to be a little bit closer, just, not much, but just enough that it was making a difference. That by the time he was trying to throw that kick, Max was just throwing this teep over and over and over, landing many hard teep kicks right to Pana's face, a ton to the body, and it felt like Pana was sort of struggling to get past that, because a teep is directly straight down the middle. It requires that ability to maneuver around that, to be able to step in to start landing. If you're looking to land your hands, if you're looking to land elbows, if you're trying to get into clinch work. And Max, his footwork was phenomenal. He was able to always be in a position where his hips were straight in the position he wanted for landing yet another teep on Pana. Great effort from both guys. You could see Pana was not giving up at all. He took a lot of hard kicks to the stomach, a lot of hard kicks to the face. He stepped forwards, he kept going after it, he kept trying to find the answer. In the third round, he was finding some success. He was sort of just a bit more aggressive, and I think he was timing the kicks from Max a little better. Plus, in the third round, Max had thrown so many kicks, he was a little slower by the time they got sort of that mid-round of the third round, midway through. But it felt like Max was throwing a teep, and as his foot would come back, that's when Pana was moving forwards and throwing punches. He did manage to land a few significant strikes, but Max, to his credit, has a very good guard with his hands, and he landed some good punches as well. So yeah, I think we've got a potential superstar on our hands with Max there. He's very well rounded. It seems that if you're going to stand at distance, you're going to be teeped about 1,000 times, and if you manage to get in range, you're going to be clocking lefts and rights and elbows, and he seemed very solid in the clinch as well. So credit to Pana for sticking in there and taking a lot of punishment, but continuing to try to find how to win this match. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get the job done. Max Milne, great work with your kicking and your footwork. I think that was the story of this match, was your ability to keep the fight at the distance and manage where the fight was being taken place. So well done to you, sir. Great job. Both guys got the fight of the night. The funny part about that was when they awarded the fight of the night, Pana was in the room, but Max was not. So they've called out the winner of the fight of the night is Pana and Max, and Pana was quite quickly up to accept his award, and Max was at his hotel around the corner having a shower. Luckily, he answered his phone, and apparently he threw on some clothes and sprinted down to Harts Mill. He got there pretty quick, and he didn't even look out of breath when he got there, but well done to both guys. Fantastic effort. Our next fight of the evening was Shannon Tilbrook from Bourne Martial Arts Gym. She took on Amy Glennon from Pretty Top Team in Queensland. Once again, hats off to Curley Angel for the matchmaking here. Both girls very evenly matched, and that led to a tenacious battle between the two. I must have had Shannon's family sitting behind me because I could hear "Go Mum" the entire way through, and I thought it was a fantastic thing that her family was there to support her, and they were cheering every moment that she would land a strike, and we had many "Go Mums" the whole way through the fight. Fantastic effort from both ladies there. It was sort of like a brutal battle. It wasn't and I would say this respectfully, but it wasn't like there was a lot of very clean punches thrown or kicks thrown. It was like aggression from both ladies the entire way through. It was like a brawl. It was like attack in any which way possible, and both ladies landing big punches, big elbows, clinch work. That their cardio was tested, their heart was tested. There was spinning back elbows thrown from Shannon that were landing. Amy was pushing hard. It was one of the battles that you would love to see and you would love to be in. If you were going into Muay Thai, these are the kind of fights that you want to get into because it's not just about the technicality. Sometimes it's just like, let's just bite down on the mouth guard and just attack each other. And that's how it felt watching this, that there was so much aggression for both ladies, and it was like attack, and both ladies landing significant damage, and we saw an amazing fight because of it. 3 rounds of action the whole way through. Again, no backward step from either one of these girls getting in there. If you're going to watch a Muay Thai event and you're going to show people what Muay Thai is like, especially from a lady's perspective, you say, well, have a look at this fight. These girls went at it, and yeah, I think I've said this for every fight, but it feels like there was no loser in this fight. It was a split decision win for Amy, but it felt like there was no loser in this fight. That both ladies gave everything they had. They both landed a lot of big strikes, and yeah, what an absolute fight, amazing fight. It's the sort of thing that you'd want to see every week. You know, it's like anytime that you're going to have an event, you want to put one of these girls on this card because you know they're going to go for it. So well done to both of them. The next bout of the evening was between Aidan Godfrey of Bourne Martial Arts Gym, and he took on Louie Boubis of O'Neill's Gym in Victoria. Great effort from both guys. I did enjoy this fight, and it felt like there was a puzzle going on here that Aidan Godfrey was trying to solve the entire time. Louie felt like he was in complete control. He was able to fight off the back foot very well. His movement and his hands were very quick, and he was counter-punching Aidan's forwards movement very effectively. Aidan coming forwards, getting met with kicks, getting met with punches when he would throw his own strikes. Louie just wasn't there. And I think it was about maybe 45 seconds into the first round, you saw Louie feel very comfortable, very relaxed. He dropped his hands. He was still within range of Aidan, but he had his hands down and he was ready to move. And you saw a little bit of a smile, a little bit of a smirk on Louie's face, that he knew he was in a position where he could control distance and he could react fast enough to what Aidan was going to be throwing. And that was the story of the rest of the match. Unfortunately for Aidan, he wasn't able to change the story in his favour. Felt like he was moving forwards the entire time, but every time he would come forward, either Louie wasn't there to be hit or he was hitting him before he could sort of launch his own attack. A lot of heavy body kicks landed by Louie. Great head movement. The times we did see Aidan land and do well was when he was able to corner Louie into the ropes when Louie's movement was restricted. He was still able to move effectively, but not as effectively, and he did get punched and did get kneed a couple of times, but it was nowhere near enough and not effective enough to change the course of the fight. Aidan, unfortunately, not able to find the method of victory. Louie's movement and counterpunching was too good, too quick. He's got a bright future in this sport. Aidan, I don't know if there was anything that you could have done differently there. I saw that you were attacking, you were trying to find your way through the entire fight. Sometimes it just doesn't go your way, and you've definitely got the skill set of a fantastic fighter, and I look forward to seeing you in the ring again soon. Louie, just too good on this occasion. Well done to you. Our next fight of the night was Hannah Salter fighting out of Bourne Martial Arts, and she took on Isabella Markos from Strike Studio in Victoria. Another fantastic match. Again, Carly Gangel, I've got to say kudos to you for making these incredible matches. These girls, everyone on the card has had a war here. You've found the perfect opponent for each person on the card, and we saw an incredible battle with Hannah and Isabella here. Felt like Isabella's hands were her strength, and her kicks were almost there as a way to set up her hands or to control distance on her way in so that she could unleash. Felt like Hannah was more well-rounded. She had very good hands, very good kicks, was able to manage distance. As soon as the fight got within range where Isabella wanted to start throwing heavy punches, Hannah was able to meet her there with her own punches and then incorporating elbows, knees, stepping away. Her kicks felt stronger to me on the outside than Isabella's. I think Hannah was quite happy to fight in any range, and she felt more comfortable when she was having more success at the distance. At kicking distance, and as the fight sort of wore on, you saw more and more of that Hannah was able to fight wherever the fight would go effectively, and it felt like Isabella from the outside was struggling a little bit to keep up with Hannah's ability to land heavy kicks. She would receive a heavy kick and then move forwards, move into boxing range, and that's where it sort of got a little bit more even. But Hannah was able to control those moments as well. I felt that she was able to go boxing whenever she wanted to, step out, move forwards with elbows, move forwards to the clinch, move into range again, land heavy kicks. Isabella, to her credit, what a ton of heart. She took a lot of damaging blows and still kept moving forwards, landed a lot of good punches. She's definitely got some sort of a boxing background, or she has a lot of confidence in her hands moving forwards. You could tell that that is where she wanted to be. She wanted to be in Hannah's face, landing combination punches. She did that a fair few times throughout the fight, but unfortunately Hannah felt more well-rounded to me. She was able to fight in more areas and control the fight and be more effective in different areas that dictated where the fight took place. So well done to Hannah. Also saw a lot of smiling from Hannah, especially in the second round onwards. I think she knew she was in control wherever the fight went, and you could see that Isabella needed that boxing range to really take over the fight, and Hannah was just able to not give it to her. So a very good win for Hannah Salter there. She's moving on with her career in Muay Thai. She's doing a tremendous job. Hopefully we'll get to see more of Isabella Markos as well. She was a fantastic fighter, and no loser again in this fight. Both girls giving it their all, and what a tremendous fight to come and see. Our next fight of the evening was Anthony Gilbert from Frontline. He took on Iskander Urbisinov from Riddler's Gym in Western Australia. Another great fight on the card here. This Pride event is absolutely delivering in spades. This was interesting because it was similar to the Max Milne and Pana T fight earlier in the night, where Iskander was very effective at using long-range teep kicks to keep his opponent at bay. Anthony Gilbert, in that first round, it felt like he was trying to solve the puzzle of how do I get past these kicks, because he was getting sort of controlled in terms of the distance. He was getting teeped over and over as he tried to move forwards, and when he would move forwards, he was landing every now and then, but Iskander also able to use very good footwork and very good striking with his hands and elbows once they would sort of get into a position where it was boxing range or a Thai clinch range. Second and third round was a slightly different story. Anthony able to figure out the puzzle, the timing of Iskander's teep kicks, and he was able to move forwards and land 3 or 4 effective strikes after sort of receiving one of those teeps from Iskander. So Iskander still landing effectively with his teeps, but Anthony pushing forwards and landing 2 or 3 strikes versus one of Iskander's. We did see some very close moments where Anthony would receive a teep, he would move forwards, he would go to throw, Iskander would be the one who would land 3 or 4 punches. So both guys very effective in their skill set, and Anthony was just able to land a little bit more effectively once they got into the range of striking with hands and elbows. I felt, and the judges felt as well, Anthony able to walk away with the victory there, but a very, very close battle, and Iskander is a guy that you'll see many times. His style is fantastic for Muay Thai. He can get down to those lower weight classes, and he can use his range and his length very effectively, especially when people move in. It's one of those things with the taller guys in the lighter weight classes is they might be able to fight very effectively from distance, but then normally when it gets in close, they're nowhere near as good. Iskander definitely has the tools to fight at distance and fight in close as well. Unfortunately for him on that night, I felt Anthony was a little bit better in terms of the close-up fighting than Iskander was. I did give Iskander the edge in the distance control, but Anthony just able to land a little bit more effectively throughout the fight. But a very close-fought battle, and congratulations to both men for putting on a tremendous performance. Our next fight of the evening was Josua Marsters from Team Pinky, and he took on Caleb Curley from a pretty top team in Queensland. Both guys got rocked early in this fight. The first round, we saw Josh go down from a big head kick, but prior to that, he had landed some very solid right hands, had Caleb hurt, had him on the ropes. I was a little confused with Josh's game plan here, or what he was sort of doing throughout the fight, and I know I'm not a fighter and I'm not the guy that's in there, and it's very easy to criticize when you're sitting outside the ring from safety, but to me it felt like Josh had Caleb on the ropes, and he knew the method to get a victory, to get a knockout, was throwing the right hand. He landed 2 big right hands. Caleb was stunned from that, and it felt like Josh sort of stepped back at that moment. Now, maybe he was being patient, and maybe he was playing the I'm going to not rush in and get caught by something. But the rest of the round, Caleb was able to sort of get his wits back, and he started throwing a lot of feints, and being such a tall guy and having incredibly long legs, he was able to take over the story of this fight. And it felt like Josh was sort of sitting back, and Caleb was throwing so many feints with his kicks. It was just non-stop sort of feint, and every now and then a kick, every now and then a kick. Josh occasionally would move in, but it wasn't significant aggression. I felt like Josh, you were this close to winning that fight, and I thought maybe he's hurt his right hand. I don't think you threw a right hand for the rest of the round. And I remember that I saw Dave Stockbridge, the ring announcer, in between rounds, and I caught eyes with him, and he was saying, "Oh, it's great. This is a good night." And I said, "Yeah." I was pointing at Josh, and I said, "I think he's broken his right hand." To which Dave had no idea what I was trying to signal. I was doing this. I was pointing at Josh, and I was going like this hand, and I'm going broken. Dave thought I wanted to arm wrestle him somehow, but. Anyway, Josh, yeah, I felt like it was move in with the right hands. You would have had the knockout victory there. Staying back, being patient, sort of worked against him. Caleb able to land a very big head kick, which stunned Josh, knocked him down to the mat. And Josh, to his credit, was able to get back up immediately, wanting to get back into the fight. And I think the 3 or 4 count, the referee still gave him the full 8 count, but Josh was ready to get straight back in there. Almost got caught by the exact same kick. Maybe 20 seconds later, was able to just duck out the way. But it felt like this fight could have been Josh's to win with more aggression and moving forwards with punches. I felt like if he gave a 10-second flurry of aggressive punches, he would have got the win. Credit to Caleb for being able to weather that early storm. He took a lot of big punches. Well done to you, sir. And to turn the tide of the fight and find your own moments, land big head kicks, control the distance. I know you were fighting off your back foot a lot. I saw you sort of leaning against the ropes for a majority of the fight, but you were able to use a lot of feints, and every now and then you would come forwards just to mix it up. I did like that. I liked the aggression. I liked the change up. Josh, obviously, you're fighting somebody that is incredibly tall, has amazing distance control. Stepping forwards. Sometimes maybe it felt like you were cautious of not wanting to rush in and get caught by something. To me, as an outsider, again, I'm not a fighter, this is just my opinion, I felt that a 10-second aggressive charge with a whole heap of punches would have probably got you the knockout there. But, again, both guys, fantastic effort, and Caleb was able to get the decision victory. I'd like to see both guys in there again. Josh, I think your hands are fantastic. I think you've got a lot of power in that right. I just wish you would throw it more often, because that will win you fights, that you have knockout power in that right hand. Believe in that hand. You will knock people out with it. Don't be afraid to step forwards and throw it. Caleb, your tenacity, your durability, your ability to continuously feint and then land big kicks. You're mixing up small, light, little movements, and then the big kick would come, and it was so well disguised. So it's a very high level of fight style IQ that you've got there. So again, love to see more of both guys. Well done to both. All right, we had a heavyweight matchup next between Isaac Richards of Kachina Fight Club, and he took on Mark Stansfield from toe to toe. Both these guys, tremendous strikers, and Mark Stansfield having a absolutely amazing knockout at the previous Pride Fight series, where he got a teep on his opponent. The opponent got launched into the ropes, got sprung back with momentum, only to get straight into a Mark Stansfield right hand, which did the job. Tremendous debut, tremendous appearance for Mark Stansfield on Pride Fight Series, and I was very much looking forward to seeing him fight again. He took on the Diamondback Fighting Championship MMA heavyweight champion in Isaac Richards, who is a tremendously powerful man, and that was sort of the story of this fight. It was power versus technique in this, and the first time I saw Isaac Richards, he's an interesting character to watch because he's so calm. When he comes out to fight, it looks like, and I remember thinking this, it looks like he's almost asleep. When I saw him fight on DFC the first time, he's walked into the cage, and I remember thinking, I was like, I don't know if this guy's really that into this. He looks like he's ready to go to bed. It's all a charade, though, because as soon as that bell rings, this man becomes an absolute lion, and he has put away his opponents in the first 20-25 seconds of every fight I've seen him in. It's such a contrast. It is an amazing thing to witness, where you're looking at somebody who's standing in the corner, who you could literally say, go to bed, mate, you've stayed up too late. To 2 seconds later, he's throwing the most ridiculously powerful strikes and aggression that you could ever imagine somebody throwing. And then the opponent is completely unconscious in front of him. Yeah, absolutely mind-boggling power from Isaac Richards, and I was very interested going into this because I know Mark has a very technical skill set, and he has the ability to move effectively around the ring, and it was sort of going to be, well, if you're going to have anybody that can match Isaac in terms of striking ability, you would want somebody who has all of the weapons available in terms of distance control, elbows, knees, clinch, everything that's available in Muay Thai. And not only are they proficient at everything, but they are deadly in all those areas. And that is Mark Stansfield. So going into this fight, I was very, very excited. And they've done the introductions. Great job from Dave Stockbridge, the ring announcer. As always, a funny moment. His microphone did happen to cut out as he announced Isaac's name. But it came back a few seconds later. He was able to get the job done. Great moment under pressure from Dave Stockbridge there. But we got into the match, and Isaac immediately throwing haymakers at Mark Stansfield, and the power, you could feel like the air whistling as Isaac's arms would just be missing Mark. Mark looked so relaxed, so technical, so calm. He was moving so well. He was dodging those huge big haymakers from Isaac so comfortably. And the times that Isaac did land, Mark hadn't had his guard up. It was hitting his shoulder. It was glancing off of his body. He was fighting tremendously well and very technical. It was amazing to see that. He was moving well around the ring. Isaac looked a little bit flat-footed, and he was sort of telegraphing his punches a little bit, moving forwards, throwing big right hand, overhand rights, overhand lefts, which were quite easily dodged by Mark. He was able to move away. He was using teep kicks up the middle. Both guys were landing heavy leg kicks, and it was almost like Isaac would land 2 or 3 leg kicks, and then Mark would land one with perfect technique, and you could just see the difference in terms of somebody who's pure Muay Thai versus somebody who's more well-rounded with an MMA style. And every one of those leg kicks that Mark landed, oh boy, did they do some damage. You could see that Isaac's legs started to go red very quickly, and they were having an impact on the fight. Isaac getting knocked to the ground a couple of times, or not to the ground, but he would get sort of kicked and then have to hop away as he was off balance when he received the kicks. Those were powerful from Mark. He was looking in fine form in that first round. Isaac looking a little bit. You could see his strikes were so powerful, and he was moving forward with aggression. He was finding his moments, but he just wasn't being effective with his strikes, as in Mark was moving so well and defending so well that Isaac's power was being negated because he was either missing completely or he was landing into a guard or into a shoulder. I thought Mark was doing a tremendous job. Second round, it was more of the same. In that first minute, you saw Isaac moving forwards, swinging big punches, Mark moving out the way adeptly. And then about 1 minute into the second round, Mark has landed a very effective leg kick, and then followed it up with a second leg kick a few seconds later, and that I thought was going to be the end of the fight coming up for Isaac. You could see that that bloody hurt Isaac. He wasn't putting that leg forwards anymore, and his footwork basically stopped happening. He was now just walking, and I thought, well, Mark's got it here. You know, this is just going to be a matter of time. He's going to land another big leg kick, and that's, you know, if Isaac can handle it, maybe he'll be able to handle 1 or 2 more, and that's going to be the end of the fight. His leg was torn up. It was bright red. There was toe imprints in it, and you could see he was labored from that. But the weird thing about this fight, and I don't understand what happened with Mark, he stopped attacking and being offensive. And it was such a weird thing to see, because from that point forward, it was like he had a path to victory. I'm not sure if he saw what he had done with Isaac's leg, or that he knew how close he was to being able to potentially end the fight with another couple of heavy leg kicks, but his offense just shut down. And I've gone back, I've watched the fight a couple of times since then. There was only 12 more strikes thrown from Mark from that point onwards, and most of those were very light little jabs, a couple of little front teep kicks, but there was nothing like the power that he was showing earlier, where he was able to land big leg kicks, big strikes. In the clinch, he was fighting well there as well, but it almost felt like he stopped fighting. And I don't know if there was an injury or whether there was something that happened, but Isaac, after that leg kick had landed and you could see that it had impacted his movement, and there was a change on Isaac's face, and this is something that a veteran fighter will be able to do, and credit to Isaac. This is something Stipe Miocic has talked about, getting a calf kick, that he knew he was compromised, and a couple more of those kicks was going to end his night. He needed to bite down on his mouthpiece and go forward heavy with aggression. That's exactly what he did. He started swinging full force combination punches at Mark, whereas earlier in the fight he was just throwing sort of one or two punches. Now he was going full blast. He was throwing everything he had. He needed to finish this fight because Mark was going to finish him with leg kicks. Mark, to his credit, was able to weather those storms and be effective at moving away. I saw him dodging well. He was guarded. His guard was up for all the heavy strikes that Isaac was throwing, and especially in that first sort of initial burst that Isaac did after he received that leg kick. He came after Mark. Mark moved away. He did exactly what he had been doing earlier in the fight. He was able to dodge effectively, guard effectively, let the shots glance off his shoulders. But from that point on, it looked like there was a change on Mark's face, and whether or not maybe one of those punches really affected him, or there was something that dramatically happened in his physicality in the ring, but he stopped attacking. And maybe it was like, I need to wait till Isaac's tired, or I don't know what happened there. It was confusing, but Isaac throwing the kitchen sink at Mark and breathing heavy, walking after Mark. I felt that Mark was in a position with his technical skill set that he could have continued to do what he was doing in that first round and had got the win. Isaac, to his credit, managed to corner Mark and unload with a whole barrage of heavy strikes. And again, to Mark's credit, he was able to dodge. It never seemed like he did get hit with a bunch of big punches, but it never looked like any of them sort of really rocked him to the point where he was about to go completely unconscious. He got hit hard, and he got hit relatively often, but the majority of those strikes he was still able to sort of move, and it looked like he was frustrated with himself more than anything. And I think that's maybe the key to his attitude change, was that, I don't know, it was like he was so frustrated with himself for being hit that maybe he felt like he didn't deserve to win, or maybe he felt like he didn't deserve to keep fighting. I don't know. It was strange. I felt bad for him because I felt like he had the ability to win the fight, but something happened where he did the opposite and sort of became very passive. And Isaac was able to seize that opportunity and land some very big strikes, had Mark in the corner. Mark ended up getting an 8 count. The round finished. They went to the third. You could hear Mark's corner screaming at him to wake up, Mark, turn it on, because they could see there was no offense coming from Mark. And that is the story of the third round as well. Mark continued to sort of circle and dodge a lot of the big power shots that Isaac was throwing, but eventually Isaac cornered him again through big power shots, and eventually the referee did step in and stop the fight because there was just no offense coming back from Mark at all. He was getting hit hard, he was getting hit often, and it was definitely a fantastic call from the referee to stop the fight at that point. Mark wasn't in a position where he was like, staggeringly falling to the ground, but it was very obvious that he wasn't coming back to continue to win that fight. And when a fighter's in that position, that is the perfect call to make. Somebody doesn't need to be completely unconscious for you to stop the fight and say the fight is over, there is no more fight in this man. So yeah, unfortunate, a strange fight for me to watch that. I'm not sure what happened with Mark Stansfield. I would love to get his take on it. The guy has has incredible skills. I think that his striking was more effective than Isaac's was throughout the fight up until the point where he stopped striking, which was very confusing to see. But this man has a bright future in this sport, and I'd love to see him fight again. Every time he's on a card anywhere, I will tune in and watch, and especially with Isaac Richards as well. I'm not sure where he's going next, whether he's going to continue in Muay Thai or whether he's going to jump back into the Diamondback Fighting Championship, but he has some bloody power, man. And yeah, if you're going to watch anyone in heavyweight division, that's sort of the reason you would be going to see the heavyweights, is that these guys could punch a hole through a wall, and that's Isaac Richards right there. This man is power, unbelievably so. So can't wait to see both these guys again. Yeah, Mark, you did a tremendous job. Isaac, you weathered the storm and you got the job done. Well done to both guys. Our next fight was between Jack Spacie from M16 Rikers Gym and Josh Lim from O'Neill's Gym in Victoria. Josh taking this fight on 10 days notice, and what an absolute warrior. This fight was very closely contested, both guys being effective with their striking. Jack, I felt, was a little better at managing the distance. He had a better reach, and he was able to use straight punches. He threw a lot of 1-2s, which landed effectively, was able to bloody up Josh's nose and his eye relatively early in the fight, which sort of told the story of how things were going. We saw Josh being an absolute warrior, and especially in that second round, as that second round started, he was aggressive, man. He wanted to take Jack's head off, and he moved forwards. He was getting hit a little bit more often. He did land a lot of shots, but I felt Jack was more effective with his striking. Josh, to your credit, my friend, you are an absolute warrior, and I could see that you wanted this win, but Jack was just a little better with managing the distance and the timing as you were coming in. I think you were getting hit a couple of times more often than you were able to hit Jack. So well done to both guys. Love to see both of you in there again. Alright, that brings us to our main event of the evening, and that was Jason Scott from Team Pinky, and he took on Prabsuek, all the way from Western Australia. And when you fight a guy that has over 80-something wins in Prabsuek, you know you're in for a tough night. And unfortunately, Jason was that is exactly what happened with him. The fight ended in the first round. There was 3 knockdowns. It looked like Prabsuek was able to land a knee to Jason's liver, and that was pretty much the end of the fight at that point. Jason, going down in pain, very bravely made the 8 count, only to walk straight into a front teep kick to the gut from Prabsuek. A testament to Prabsuek. I mean, if your opponent's hurt, go after the injury, absolutely. And that put Jason down for the second time. And again, Jason, what heart he showed in being able to get up and face the 8 count moving forwards against, this is a 5-round fight. He is going against an absolute veteran of Muay Thai in Prabsuek, a man whose kicks to the bag sound like gunshots, and Jason has been down on the floor twice. He knows his liver is compromised. He knows his midsection is compromised. It's still early in that first round. He had every opportunity to say, I can't go on, but he is an absolute warrior, and he made that 8 count and did his best to continue moving. But unfortunately, they got in the clinch, and Prabsuek landed yet another knee to that whole area in the midsection. That was all she wrote. Jason spent several minutes on the canvas after that point. So those liver shots, devastating. It's basically a knockout. You know, it's one of those things, you get hit there, your body just stops working. You can't do what you want to do. Your brain might be telling your legs to move. They ain't moving. You can't breathe. You can't think. Your body won't respond. And yeah, for Jason to get up after that, not only once, but twice, I'm very impressed with you, Jason. You are an absolute warrior, my friend. That was absolutely incredible. Disappointing for you, obviously, not being able to showcase your skill set in the fight. Maybe you'll get an opportunity to do that, hopefully in a rematch, maybe it's someday way down the line. Obviously, when you get the main event of a card, you want to put on a great show, whether it's winning or losing. You don't want to be losing in the first round, but the good news is that everyone got to see how much heart you have and how much you wanted to be in this fight, because I can tell you, most people would have quit after that first knockdown. Not only did you get up, you got knocked down again, and you got up again. So that's something that you could show people and say, this is a true show of courage right here. So well done to you, Jason. Well done, my friend. Prabsuek, obviously, is an absolute legend in the Muay Thai world, and every time we get to see this man compete, it is an absolute privilege and an honor. He's going to be tough to beat any time for the rest of his career. He is an absolute veteran of the sport. He knows how to do everything and how to do everything well. He's seen it all before. He's been there. He's done that. He has the skill set, and if you're going to step in there against him, it's going to be a tough night. So, yes, well done to Jason. I'm very impressed with you, my friend. And Prabsuek obviously has nothing left to prove, but he will be exciting anytime he is on the card. And Jason, I'll be looking forward to seeing you back in the ring again as well. Well, there you have it. That is all of the fights that took place on Pride Fight Series 5. Tremendous event. Hats off to Curley Angel and all the people that made this event take place. If you're ever going to look at a Muay Thai event, please check out Pride Fight Series. You can go and check them out on Facebook. You can still buy the event. I think it's $15 at this point after the event has played out, but you can go and watch that. It is worth watching. All of the fights delivered, and the in-person experience can't be matched. What an absolutely tremendous experience it was to sit there ringside with 1,000 other fight fans, and everyone was into it. You had Shannon, the Cannon's family screaming, "Go Mum!" You had everyone that was involved, and the teams and all the supporters were so invested in what was happening in the ring that every strike, every moment, every clinch was cheered, or there was so much support, and everything from a technical aspect went so well. Props to the production crew and Chris and all the guys that were running that side of things. We saw amazing lighting and the music and everything that happened, not only for the fighters' entrances, but during the fights. We had the Y Crew music, and yeah, what an absolutely amazing event. Please check out Pride Fight Series. Number 6 will be the next one up. Once that gets announced, buy your tickets early. This show was a sellout. The next one will be as well. Curling Angels doing everything right with Pride, and I can't wait to see the next one.